Friends, understanding life is fascinating. We all understand or may have studied a few facts about life, how it originates, how it propagates, and so on. However, a lot of our understanding is either based on myth or based on incomplete information. Let's deep dive in this subject this Saturday. There are several questions like what is an embryo, what is fetus, and what is life, and so on and so forth. While embryo is a baby, an animal, or a plant in the early stages of development before birth, a fetus is a young human or animal that is still developing in the mother's body or the womb. What then is the difference between the two? An embryo is the early stage of human development in which critical body structures are formed, and it is termed a fetus beginning the 11th week of pregnancy. Now, when does life manifest itself? Richard Paulson, an infertility specialist, says that the human egg is a single living cell and becomes a one-cell embryo if it successfully combines with a live sperm. No new life is formed since the egg and the sperm were already alive, and fertilization is not instantaneous. Nearly 48 hours pass from the time sperm first builds to the outside of the zona pellucida, the human eggshell, until the first cell division of the fertilized egg happens. Now, the two newly formed cells then have the potential to give rise to a human being, but only if they are appropriately matured so that they continue to divide and then successfully implant in the uterus. Hence, human life begins when sperm and eggs fuse to give rise to a single cell human zygote whose genetic individuality and uniqueness remain unchanged during normal development. Because the zygote has the capacity to become an adult human individual, it is thought it must be one already. Now, that's probably the origin of life. But then that's a lot of science. That said, the concept of life is broad and multifaceted. A biological perspective often distinguishes living organisms from inanimate matter, and characteristics typically are cellular organization, metabolism, growth, adaptation, response to stimuli, and reproduction. Now, philosophically and spiritually, the concept of life extends beyond the biological functions and defines the nature of consciousness, purpose, and the meaning of existence. Psychologically, life can be explored in terms of individual experiences, emotions, and the development of consciousness. Culturally and societally, life encompasses the shared experiences, the values, the practices of a community, and involves the interconnectedness of individuals within a society and the various ways in which people navigate their existence together. Existential philosophy often grapples with questions related to individual existence, freedom, choice, and responsibility. Whichever way we define life, ultimately the concept of life is rich and complex. The collective aim must be to enhance the quality of life. Hindus believe that the education of moral, traditional, and spiritual values begins right from the moment the fetus is conceived in the womb. Does the embryo learn through Garbha Sanskar? Garbha means womb and Sanskar means ethics, values, and so on. So parenting a child and teaching ethics inside the mother's womb, is that the key? The Garbha Upanishad states that in the last weeks of its development, the fetus remembers the good and the bad karma, and being born anew through many births, resolves also to remember its preserver, creator, and also the destroyer. It, however, forgets all its resolutions when it is squeezed out of the womb. Out of the womb, and how does one enhance the quality of life then? Our body, defined by 7 chakras, vital to living, must be released from self-inflicted blocks. Now, Mooladhara, at the base of the spine, the pelvic floor, and the first 3 vertebrae is responsible for our sense of safety and security while we are alive, and helps us feel grounded and withstand challenges. Swadhisthana, the second primary chakra, is perpetually blocked by the fear of death, and opening it will release us from all fears and can boost creativity and confidence. Manipura, the third chakra, acts as the body's energy powerhouse. Located in the stomach area, it is responsible for confidence and self-esteem. And Anahata, or unhurt, unstruck, unbeaten, is associated with balance, calmness, and serenity. And the Vishuddha chakra is responsible for communication, our speech, self-expression, and the ability to speak truth. Ajna chakra, the sixth, signifies the unconscious mind, and that links it to the Brahman. The crown chakra, or Sahasrara, located at the top of the head, represents the spiritual connection and its relation to the universe. Maximizing the energies from these chakras is the key to good health. Chakra meditation is a powerful technique that brings attention to one's own self and lets us focus on our awareness. In one of the next few episodes, I'll certainly talk to you about chakra meditation and how we go about doing it. Yoga too is an effective way to do this, as it encourages the flow of energy back into the body. Friends, in the Vedas, life is not defined in a narrow biological sense, but rather understood as a spiritual, cosmic, and moral phenomena, a part of an eternal, interconnected existence governed by universal laws and consciousness. Friends, life is not a rehearsal. We have not come here to play in a drama. It's the only performance that we get where we need to excel. To truly live means to experience and to feel deeply, to love, to fail, to rise again and again. Don't count the days. Make the days count. This reminds us that life's richness lies not in its strength, in its length, but in its depth. Too often we get caught up in routines and regrets, forgetting that the present moment is all we have really, which we can call our own. Living fully means embracing change, chasing dreams, and finding joy in the ordinary. As Helen Keller wisely said once, life is either daring adventure or nothing at all. To live is to step out of fear, to take chances, to connect with others, and to be kind, not only to the world, but to ourselves. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in those years that counts. Abraham Lincoln reminds us, let's not merely exist, let's live. Breathe deeply, love freely, laugh loudly, and pursue with purpose. Pursue with purpose. For life in all its unpredictability is a precious gift. And the best way to honor it is to live it with intention and gratitude. With that, friends, I end today's episode with a promise to be back the next Saturday at the same time with another interesting episode, which I am sure you will like. Thank you. Dhanyavad and Namaskar.